Age of Tomorrow. Does that title remind you of another movie? Is this a mockbuster? Of course it is. It's an asylum movie. So obviously it's time to come out with the Tom Cruise Edge of Tomorrow. This is an alien invasion movie, though it doesn't have the sort of time loop feature that the Edge of Tomorrow does. What we've got here is really a story that involves two sort of separate stories in one that kind of converge together at the end. Now I have to say, on a positive of this movie, first of all, there's quite a lot going on in this film. I guess the main story really is this group of Marines are sort of gathered together after it's discovered that this kind of giant asteroid heading towards Earth. Amusingly, we're sort of told that it only has sort of 48 hours until it actually hits Earth. No one has sort of seen it before then, but there you go. And they're joined by Kelly, who is a kind of scientist. And the idea is that they're going to kind of go off and blow up the asteroid before it hits Earth. Very much like the movie Armageddon. So that's kind of what they do. And when they get there, of course, they find out this asteroid is actually some kind of alien base. And it's being patrolled by these spherical kind of robotic drones that somehow manage to sort of teleport this kind of group of Marines back to the alien homeworld. And this seems to be the plan of the aliens. It's for some reason, although it's never really made clear, it's to sort of kidnap humans to do something with them. Meanwhile on Earth, we have a kind of separate storyline involving a firefighter really sort of trying to sort of fend off these aliens and all these kind of robotic drones at least, and trying to sort of get to his daughter, who he's kind of been sort of separated with. And this is I guess some of the sort of the more funny scenes here, because it's obviously such a low budget action that we meant to believe that there's kind of full scale alien invasion going on, and yet in the background and stuff we can just see the normal LA traffic driving around in the background and things like that. So it's all quite funny. I have to say the scenes on the alien world were a little bit better. They seem to have spent a little bit more money there. It has got some interesting creature designs. We do see a couple of different sort of styles of aliens, and I have to say they don't look too bad for this kind of level of movie. So I will give it props for that. The acting is a bit of a mixed bag. The main military guy, although I have to say on a complete segue, this is the most unconvincing group of military personnel I've ever seen on film. However, the main military guy, who I forget the character's name, isn't a bad actor. It does do a kind of a fairly good job with what he's given on this kind of particular story. However, there's a lot of sort of minor characters and people who only have a small amount of dialogue. Who the acting is just so bad. You've also got Robert Picardo, I think his name is, who you may know from the sort of Star Trek fame, and he's also sort of shows up in a sort of limited role as the commander of this kind of military unit. But overall, I will say this: there is a lot going on in this film. It has quite a few ideas, so I don't think you will get bored necessarily, unless you are really, don't like these kind of films to begin with. In which case, why are you watching it altogether? So you should have some idea about what these asylum films are like. It's very cheaply and quickly sort of slapped together. There's so many sort of things that just defy logic and just aren't realistic in the slightest. Like I say, I've given you a few examples, but it's constant throughout the film. There's just so many things that just don't make sense and are just, quite frankly, stupid. However, like I said, there is quite a lot going on with it, so I have seen worse asylum films. So overall, I'm going to give this movie a 4 out of 10. It's okay if you are prepared to go into a movie knowing it's going to be a kind of a cheap mockbuster B-movie type science fiction film. I've seen worse, but not that many worse. 4 out of 10. What did you think of it? Leave me a comment and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.